Yeah, you've seen a lot of improvement from the beginning of the year till the last 4 or 5 weeks. You know, Coach Odom does a really good job. This will be the third year in a row we faced him. My first year he was calling the defense. He was the coordinator, and then last year he called the defenses, and then this year, he's got a great reputation, and he does a really good job with his blitz package and getting those guys to play extremely hard. And defensive lines just continue to improve every week, and the backers are playing solid, and they're a good group, well coached.
I guess they got like 6 guys with 6 or more tackles for loss. Does that make it hard to say, well, we're going to double team this guy or that guy?
Well, you know, you can't go out and just say you're going to block a guy. You got to block the structure. They have a lot of different structures. So I think what they do is they put pressure on you as far as the scheme, and I think that's how they create their TFLs. I think that's one thing that's so unique about them is that the guys play the defense. It's a team defense. The guys are getting in their gaps. Guys are getting in the right spots, and that's creating a lot of the plays for not just one guy, but for a lot of guys because they're playing good team defense.
Just like the last 5 games, 45 points, and then about the fewest they've scored. Does that put pressure on your offense, just knowing how much they can score?
Well, yeah, if it gets going like that in the game, it certainly does. You know, you don't want to waste any possessions against a team like that. And I think one of the big things we can do to help our defense and help our team is to get first downs and stay on the field and control the clock and try to limit their possessions and limit their time out there. So I do think that'll be a real key to the game. From what I understand, they're very explosive on offense, and I know their quarterback's playing at a very high level.
Do you think Austin's more efficient in the last game than LSU?
Tough to say. I'm trying to think back to the LSU game. He's doing what he can, but we didn't make enough plays in the past game this week, or we didn't make enough explosive plays, period, this game to help our team win, Case in point, we have a pass play where 2 defensive backs fall on the ground, which I don't think I've ever seen that. They didn't run into each other. They just both fell over, and we only gained 24 yards. It should have been a touchdown, 70-yard touchdown or whatever it was. So we got to create explosive plays somehow. We had opportunities against Saturday, and we didn't capitalize on them. And it's not just Austin; it's a lot of different factors involved. But when you have a game like that against such a good defense, we had a chance to get explosive plays too. When you watch the tape, there's guys open, there's things to be had, and we're a protection away or a throw away or whatever that is from making those plays.
He was scared fell down and just so wide open. He's so excited. I'm going to turn up, and he just kind of got tangled up.
What's that?
Well, when he had that play, you're talking about Dan Stir caught it and he fell down. I think he was just so excited. He was so wide open.
I don't know. I wish he would have stayed on his feet and ran the end zone. But it's, I don't know. I can't answer that for him. I just know that when you win football games, you capitalize on those moments, and we did not do that.
It's going to be senior day. You don't have a lot of seniors, but you have some key guys like Austin, some of the other guys. What's your feeling about the senior class?
Well, it's pretty decimated now. I mean, a lot of the guys are out, or we didn't have a lot to begin with. I think David Williams, who's a graduate transfer, I really appreciate what he's done. He's come in and had a really good, solid year for us. He's a good young man. He's been fun to coach. Obviously, Austin we've just been through a lot this year. I really feel bad for him. He's really invested into this program and this team, and it hasn't been the type of year I know he wanted to have, nor did we want to have for him. So I hope he can play well. I hope he can win his last game. Hope he can win his last game at home. And we're gonna certainly do everything we can to try to put him in that position as a coaching staff. And it would be really nice to see him just play a great game, and he can get on to bigger and better things in his life.
Yeah, how much do you guys look back at last year's game for motivation or anything like that, just how things unfolded?
Not for motivation. We look at it for schematically. I mean, that game is what it is. I mean, all the games are different, but schematically we look back at it. We've watched it a couple times. It's in all of our cut-ups, and there's certainly things that we can learn and take from that. You know, that's really up to Coach Bielema, you know, so I think as we get to unfold through the week and see how Cole practices and things like that, I think Coach will have a good idea on that, but I'm gonna leave that up to Coach.
Do you get a sense Cole, understands the ramifications of what he did, how, Aaron's not coming back, doesn't need to be doing that?
Well, I hope so. I mean, if he doesn't, then he's not as bright as I thought he was. It's huge mistake, disappointment, and certainly just something that he's going to need to grow from if he wants to turn into the player that I think he wants to be.
And have you sensed the remorse he has?
I've only been around him just for a short time yesterday, to be honest with you, and I think he's got a good heart. I certainly know he has a really good family, and he's been raised the right way, and he's a good. I think he's a good kid with a good heart, and I think he's a young kid that made a big mistake, and I know certainly all of us in this room have made mistakes as well. So hopefully it's something he can learn from and not repeat it.
It's with the offensive line situation, just how you kind of grab that.
I don't know if you got any ideas. Let us know. It's been difficult, guys hurt. We're on our third center. Dylan Hayes plays for the first time. It's just it's been difficult. We're just trying to get him reps. The problem is during the week is you try to anticipate. Well, if this guy goes down, you get guys reps with the twos, but you can't cover every scenario for every situation. And we're just getting low on bodies. I think we only traveled 9 linemen Saturday, and we got 2 of them hurt, so we were down to 7. So I was hoping no more would get hurt. I thought they might put me in at center or guard. I was hoping that wouldn't happen. I wouldn't hold up very long in there. But Kurt will do a good job of getting those guys getting reps in different places. And the unique thing is that I don't think I've ever been in a season where you've had all these centers hurt. You know what I mean? It's not just a guard or whatever. It's your center. So we'll have to continue to get another center ready, probably 2 more centers ready as well. So that'll take some time and some preparation this week.
Also, if Nance can't play, who do you look for to kind of fill his role?
I think Brandon Martin, hopefully we can get Devion Warren back from his injury. And I'm trying to think of who else there is. Who else? Gary Cross. Well, Jordan will certainly continue to play a bunch, but I think Gary Cross and Brandon Martin will be the guys, and then hopefully we can get Devion back. I think Devion is starting to do some good things. I think he's a good football player with a bright future.
Who are the guys that you could work out at center?
Well, we teach a lot of them how to snap, but Dylan Hayes will be a guy that'll have to snap, and obviously Jake and Yelda. If we can get Yelda back, he can snap some. And then I'm trying to think of one of those tackles we had snap. Johnny Gibson, I think, is the other guy we had snap a little bit too. So.
What's kept Jalen Merrick from getting on the field?
Just his, practice habits. I mean, he might play this week, and if he can have a good week of practice, and it's been really inconsistent in practice with the playbook and with the strain, and that's all we can base our decisions on is how they perform in practice. So he'll do things here and there to get you excited, and then he does things to unexcite you, if you will, if that's a word. But he may get an opportunity this week. So hopefully he can have a really good week of practice so everybody feels good about putting him in the game.
I know Hayes, he played offensive line before, then he got moved to defense. I guess maybe a month or so ago, basically got moved back to offense. I just think he did going in there and playing the guard.
He did an admirable job for a guy that's played his first time. He made some big mistakes in there. Again, and he got overmatched in there a little bit. But when you go back and you look at it and you think this was the first football he's ever played here, and he was a defensive lineman 3 weeks ago. He did an admirable job. He's a tenacious guy. He's a tough guy. I think he'll be a good player here before it's all said and done. But it was tough sledding in there for him on Saturday.
Dan, I don't know if you'll answer this, but Gerard Barnes played early in the season. Is he redshirting
You know, I'm not exactly sure about his situation.
Sorry, I meant to ask.
No, that's okay.
And Austin said there was a miscommunication on the 4th and 2. Kind of what should have happened there? Did he not get a clean release?
Yeah, it was, you know, it was not very good. I guess there was not very good technique used, and wasn't how we had practiced it for the last month. You know, so it was just, it was one of those things, you know. But when you've played competitive athletics and you've coached it, you know, there's the term I always use with the quarterbacks, you know, you can live in your hopes or you can live in your fears. And we try to live in our hopes and we try to win games. And, you know, we had a play ready to go and guys didn't execute it. And sometimes that happens and sometimes you do it. But, you know, in hindsight, we'd do it all over again.
I felt that, you know, Nance could circle on the very play before, so it's not like you got our 6th play before and you kind of think, well, what do we want to do because we don't have Nance? You got to make a snap decision.
Yeah, it was kind of the perfect storm in a negative way for us because we started calling the play immediately and before we knew anybody was hurt, and then they were all lined up, and you know, we got it substituted quickly, you know, which was good. And again, we've repped this play for a long time, not just for a week, and all the guys have had reps at it. We've repped all the flankers at that play, and you know, obviously overstate the obvious, didn't do a very good job and wasn't successful.
There's a lot of speculation about what's going on with this coaching staff. How are you guys handling that, just dealing with that?
It's not fun. It's not good. You know, it's hard. It's harder on the families than it is us. You know, we get isolated and we're in here working and coaching and you know, doing our deal. I think it's you know, it's really difficult on the kids and the wives, you know, because they're out in the community and kids hear things at school and things like that. And it's a really tough part of the business. It really is. And I know people say, well, you decided to be a coach, you knew what you're getting into, and all. Yeah, you know, that's true. But you know what? My wife and kids don't deserve that, and neither do all the other coaches. And so that's what makes really it's hard. It's hard on us because of that. You know, again, you know, we can take it, we can handle it. Obviously, when you're 4-7, we know people aren't going to be running around trying to have a parade for us or build statues of us out in front of the stadium. We get all that, but it's tough to watch your family go through stuff. But you know, I just use it as continually use it as learning moments for my children. Is that, you know, life's not always easy, life's not always fair, and there's going to be adversity in life, and you got to fight through it, and you got to, you know, as my dad used to always say, you got to keep your hands up, keep your chin down, and just keep punching, man. And that's kind of what the Enos family, we use our motto growing up, and we always use, and that's what we're always going to do. But I just try to use moments like this as a learning experience for my kids and for my family, and I know the other coaches do as well, is that you got to handle these tough situations and keep moving forward. And you know, God's got a plan for all of us, and right now his plans for us to be 4-7. Hopefully it's 5-7 at the end of this week, and then we'll see what happens from there, and we'll be better and stronger for it.
Is that something where you talk to, like maybe after a tough loss, you say some of your kids, hey, you might hear something at school today, or do they go home and say, hey, Dad, somebody said something about it, hey.
You know, they're both old enough now where, you know, I don't say they kind of expected it, but I think they knew that somebody might say something, you know what I mean? And they you know, one of them has said that people at school have said things, but, you know, but yeah, my wife does a great job of prepping them, if you will, and coaching them up, you know, and just, hey, you know, try to give people grace and, you know, and try not to fly off the handle. And that's what the only thing I worry about is, you know, is when people say stuff is, you know, your kids love their dad. You know what I mean? I mean, love them. And they don't want anybody hurting them or saying anything negative about them. You know what I mean? So I just worry more about that, of them just, hey, just, you know, water off a duck's back and let it roll. And, you know, God's out in front of us always, and he's fighting our fights for us, and he's making our crooked paths straight. And there's a reason for everything. And just like I said, just keep your hands up and keep your chin down and just keep punching.
Brett was citing the statistics for the young players, talking, you know, about where the program is headed. So what are your thoughts about offensive talent that Arkansas has for next season?
I feel good about it. I feel really good about the quarterback situation. First and foremost, I think Ty Story has continued to get better. His throwing mechanics have improved tremendously. He's like a different guy throwing. Cole Kelly certainly has shown, I think, glimpses of that he could be a really good player. Dalton Hyatt continues to impress our coaching staff. Tremendous athlete, great size, arm strength. You know, and then as recruiting goes, you know, you can't comment on those things, but Jack Lindsey and Carson Proctor are good. All the tight ends are back. You know, obviously you lose Frank, but we haven't played with Frank for a while now. I think the future's getting brighter at that position. Running back position's obviously very bright. And all the receivers are returning. And I think if Jay Red comes back as well, they'll even be better. So I think again, the future's very bright. I think there should be a lot of optimism for that group. Got to continue to get better in the offensive line, continuity, consistency, keep developing it, keep recruiting it, and so that you constantly have older guys playing and younger guys you're developing to move into those situations. So would like to see one of the wideouts emerge as a guy, you know what I mean? And I think Deion Stewart's had an opportunity here the last few weeks to create that buzz. We've missed him on some throws, you know. He catches one and falls down, you know what I mean? But I do think I think him and Jordan have the potential to be really, really good players. And I think those tight ends continue to tease you, you know, here and there. They tease you, but I think they need one of those guys needs to become a bell cow and be able to say, you can count on me every snap, run and pass game. And there's certainly talent enough to do it, but they got to put it all together. I mean, you know, talent and 250 get you a cup of coffee, right? You got to put it all together, and it's got to be the mindset, the toughness, the strain, the preparation, and I think some of the guys got to continue to grow and mature in those areas and off the field, and that will certainly help them become better players on the field.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.